So in part one, let's see, in part one, which looked like this, if I can get it to display, thank you, we got this effect with the standard glass material from the library. Now I'm going to go for a coloured glass material and also attempt to set up an obscure lighting arrangement for it. So go into the material for the object and the default Bryce sphere, and we'll have a look for in glass. It's in the library here, glass, and it's coloured, and I'm going to pick out this glass bumped one, which I like. It's got a good colour, and things are set up with specularity, but I'm not going to use specularity because I'm aiming to use the reflections available in the environment. I'm going to reduce the bump effect slightly, so I'm going to take it down to half what it is there, and we've got the transparent colour providing the colour. Diffuse is set to fully white, volume is set to fully white, so we've only got this coming through the transparent channel, and well, that should be about right. That's all we need to do with this, other than possibly consider including a bit of ambient and drive that with the same colour. Because I'm going to use total internal reflection, we'll tend to lose a bit of light, and so this just puts it back in. So similar theory as last time, right? Since I mentioned the total internal reflection, then that's something I'll have to correct in the render options. So just show you what it looks like now. So there we go. You can see it's just reflecting the default Bryce sky. So I suppose, since I mentioned that just now, which to do first, render options or sky? Let's do the sky. Atmosphere off, set to fully black, and then go into the Skylab image-based lighting, use HDRI, navigate to where your HDRI image is. There we go. Turn the quality down, and we're going to have no specularity output. We are, however, going to have a high output on HDRI effect. Ooh, look, see, that looks impressive. However, it's going to be lit from the inside and not cast shadows. Okay, so this seems strange perhaps if you don't know what's going on here. What I'm doing is setting things up for obscure lighting, and to do that I need to include only the background. Now the background is not something that exists in this setup at the moment. We're going to create something that it can target. We're going to create a light source, and the way it's going to work is the HDRI is going to light the light source from the inside, and then the light source is going to be detected by the true ambient rendering. So this is why I call it obscure lighting, because the method is rather convoluted. Okay, I'm going to increase the intensity of the background, so we've got some background, and I'll add it to the sky so you can see what contribution reflection is giving to our render at the moment. The other thing I'm going to do here is remember to turn off true ambience optimization. What this does is when true ambience is selected in the render options, if this is checked, then the HDRI light output will be true ambient output. If I uncheck this by clicking on it, it will now be direct light output, but the only thing it's targeting at the moment is this background, which has not yet been created. So I'll check out of that, and you'll just see this in regular rendering mode. Right, now go to create and create a light source. I'm going to change the family color to remind me it's different from ordinary light sources. Go to the attributes and name it background. The spelling is critical, as is the capitalization. Now edit this light source. We don't want any specular output or any diffuse output. I did those in the wrong order, didn't I? It wants to be true ambience optimized, use gel, procedural, reset to default gray, so this diffuse surface can now receive the light coming out of the HDRI world center as well, lighting from the inside. That's all the changes we need to do there, and include only background, so it can only influence itself. So this is eliminating all of the possibility of it lighting the scene in any other way other than the way we want it to. And now edit that and enlarge it to its maximum size so it can encompass the entire scene. Final thing to do is go into render options, select premium effects. I'll leave it at 64 rays per pixel because I'm pretty confident it's going to work. True ambience needs to be set true ambient scattering correction, so if it's not set, set it. Set boost light as well, and the maximum ray depth at 6, that's fine. Oh, and remember, I've got to turn on total internal reflection, so I've provided a bit of ambient in the material to light it up, so for the loss that's going to occur. And then if everything's set up right now, fingers crossed, we should have this ready to render and it will be completed in about 6.5 minutes. So what have we got? We've got HDRI image background, and it's left as a HDRI background. I haven't tone mapped. If you tone map, it has more or less the same effect as turning the image into a low dynamic range texture that you could apply to something you wrap around the environment. So keep it HDRI, and then you'll get better reflections on your glasses and metals. So it's not so much a problem with this, where it's 100% reflection. It's where the reflection is reducing the amount of light, because it's not 100% reflective. We've got a tiny bit of ambient in the glass to compensate for the fact that when you reach the maximum ray depth, you run out of light, you run out of depth, and it just returns black. And the obscure lighting setup, where the HDRI is lighting the world from world center, which is why it doesn't cast shadow. It's only lighting the inside of this sphere, and then the light gathering process of transient rendering is bringing that light back into the scene as it ray traces. And the reason for using the light from inside in this way, as opposed to lighting the outside or inside of that sphere in any other way, is that it has the handy facility of making sure it's all the right way round. So if it's bright on this side of the HDRI reflection, it's also bright on the inside of the light source. Fortunately, because it's a light source, we can't see it directly in any reflections. Only the transience lighting can see it, which is why it lights our scene but does not obscure our view of the HDRI backdrop. So I'll let this render out, and then you can see the completed image when it's done. I'll just pause the video for now. As you can see, that is now done. One thing I forgot to mention was, remember when I put the ambient in the material, it has to have some global ambient to drive it. At the moment, the global ambient set at the default, which is grey at a luminance of 126, I think. If it was fully white, then you would have to half the amount of ambient to get the same response. So it depends to some degree on how your sky is set up. So just be aware that's the global ambient control there. That provides the total available ambient colour for the materials to work with. They can't really override that unless you use an extreme value in the ambient control, which is really a sort of a bit of an advanced topic there to get into at the very end of the video, so I won't. So there you go, that's the final render. It could probably have done with more rays per pixel as far as the shadow region is concerned, because you can see there's a bit of noise in there, but it's not too bad. You could always filter that out in post work or re-render at a high resolution. As this only took about 8 minutes to render, it wouldn't be too bad to render it with a high rays per pixel to just get rid of that noise if you wanted a plain floor like that. Okay then, that's the end of the video. Hope you found that informative and useful, and that you'll experiment with these techniques in your own renders.